Oh, sorry guys, I'm muted. Hi everybody. Welcome to Accelerate 2030 webinar with the topic today, circular economy, no waste is wasted. So my name is Fauzal. I am the co-founder of Sampangan that converts waste into valuable materials. We work in circular economy sector as well. And I will be moderating for the session today with our awesome speaker, Chansu. So maybe before that, a bit of introduction. I'm live from Impact Hub, Kuningan, and a bit of Impact Hub network. Generally, we are a network of community across the world that is working to solve global and environmental as well as sustainable problems. So we exist in over 100 plus cities all over the world, and we have one here in Jakarta. And the program now today is about a webinar by Accelerate 2030, where Accelerate 2030 on its own is one of the largest global accelerator for impact businesses that is working to solve the problems to achieve sustainable development goals by 2030. So I will be sharing more about the Accelerate 2030 programs by the end of this webinar. But before that, maybe there's a bit of house rules. So it's just gonna be like a very easygoing and chill conversation that we'll have together with Chansu, as well with everybody who's joining this webinar. So feel free to comment on anything, or if you have any questions, feel free to drop it right away on the chat box. Don't be shy. Okay, so all right. So I think without wasting more time, I would like to introduce our speaker today. So she's a friend that I met when Sampangan joined the global cohort of Accelerate 2030 in Geneva. So he's one of the experts in circular economy, and he's working on helping social entrepreneurs all over the world through Accelerate 2030 global team, as well as through Impact Hub Istanbul. So Chansu has been working very closely with a lot of companies as well as stakeholders, especially in the context of shifting towards circular economy. So I think she is like one of the best person that we can learn from. So hopefully we will be having an amazing conversation and learn more about what is circular economy, and then how can it be implemented in our daily life, as well as the businesses that we will be creating. So yeah, the floor is yours, Chansu. Welcome to the session. So looking
Thank you
forward
so much,
to have
Fausal.
you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and I'm so happy to be hosted by you. As a friend, as an entrepreneur, we've been working together with Fausal previously, and he's like my buddy of circular economy, I would say. So thank you so much. And I will start by presenting myself. Hi everyone, this is Cansu from Impact Hub Istanbul. I'm working here as a business development manager for past 4 years. Previously, my background is economics, and then I had a master's in marketing and communications, where I explored the areas of sustainability and strategic communications. I have experience in both in startups and also in corporate institutions. So I have that perspective of seeing things from different windows, I would say. And my highlights of work would be like assisting entrepreneurs throughout their business journey. And circular economy was part of that I've been working with many entrepreneurs around the world from different industries and different sectors. So it was a journey for us, for me, and for them to explore where we can intervene the systems and how we can create more sustainable models throughout our journey. And I also have experience in community building and in actually bringing together like different stakeholders under some common issues, I would say. So community building was really important under the circular economy in my journey, because circular economy is a concept that it's a new, I mean, it's not a new concept. It started in 70s actually. However, it's a new concept in Turkey and also in the world that is now on the spotlight. So it's important to inform and teach people that and it's not only about recycling, it's not only about like minimizing waste, but it's also about like bringing different disciplines and create a dialogue and talk about the systems. So I would say that community building was really important in terms of our transition to circular economy in Turkey. Today, I will start with, sorry, I'm hearing someone's.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Cansu.
Okay. So today, I will start with the concept of circular economy. Then I will introduce our vision of circular economy in Accelerate 2030. What we are, how we created this Accelerate 2030 Goals Circular team this year, and what you can expect from the pillar of this program's pillar this year. And then I will give some examples from entrepreneurs and also from some of our activities, local activities, just to give some inspiration about the works that we can do, about the partnerships that we can develop under circular economy. So I will start with Pausal knows that I love interactions. So please, if you have any questions, if you want to give feedback or any reflections, you can write on the chat. They will be monitoring the chat. So I want to start with the understanding of the circular economy. And I want to ask you, like, what comes to your mind when you think about the term circular economy? So if you can write on the chat, and I will give you 20 seconds, then we can hit enter together and we can see how circular economy is understood by our own audience in this session. Faisal, I will require your assistance in this.
Yes, I'm on standby.
Perfect. So you will have 20 seconds just to write your understanding of circular economy, and then we will be monitoring that.
Okay, so we don't press enter yet, right? So we wait for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody hold your horses. Okay, and then we'll see the answers together, like that. 10 more seconds. All right, Cansu. Shall everybody hit enter now?
Yes.
Okay, everybody press enter, input your answers. There's one, closed loop production and consumption. Rethinking how we create, consume, and recover waste.
No waste.
From Iqbal, no waste at all. Awesome. Keep it coming, guys. Come on.
an attempt to be involved in more sustainable ways of living our daily life and conduct businesses.
Awesome, Anki.
So perfect. I'm not sure if you can see my presentation still.
Wait, let me check. Give me a second. Okay, Cansu, I think we have a bit of technical difficulties. Maybe you can share screen.
Okay.
You are the co-host.
Okay. I will be sharing my screen.
Awesome.
So can you see now?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Perfect. So circular economy, when we started to design this program, we decided to have a like common understanding of the method, and we define it as a powerful method of consisting principles and activities that aims to retain value of resources, materials, components, products for as long as possible in the economy. So this can be done by narrowing, slowing, closing, and regenerating material and energy loops. And we define circular economy as a systemic approach whose purpose is to reduce the consumption of natural resources and to contribute to sustainable development. So it's designing a business without waste, and also it's about minimizing waste in the current systems. And when we apply this circular economy framework, like this, it's a methodology. So sustainability is the goal, and achieving SDGs is our purpose in this program. And CE is the methodology that we are adapting. And applying the circular economy framework is a fundamental step towards achieving climate targets and minimizing pollution by both reducing emissions and increasing resilience in the systems. Now more than ever, the need for resilient, inclusive, and circular economies is pressing and increasingly recognized by institutional and non-institutional actors throughout the world. Actually, pandemic exposed the weaknesses of a highly globalized and linear economy, and it's crucial to ensure that these investments, like investments in the circular economy, will support the creation and scaling of innovative and sustainable business initiatives. The concepts of circular economy as a new model, I thought that it's not a new, but it's a newly popular model for building more sustainable economy, and it's a roadmap for us to achieving the SDGs. So while there have been many programs, I'm sure like many entrepreneurs, as entrepreneur, you are exposed to many programs, many acceleration programs. There are many programs supporting green enterprises, supporting sustainability, but the majority of accelerators do not include the environmental lens. So the social entrepreneurship sector is well positioned to inform and support the design of new services, products, and business models in a way that is sustainable and circular. That's why we adapted this team this year in our program, because it's the largest impact accelerator in the world. So we thought that we can scale our impact in sustainable businesses with the implementation of circular economy across the world. And we also had this insight that a significant part of the environmental footprint of a new product or service is decided in the design phase of the business, which is also the point in a life of a startup when it's usually receive incubation or acceleration support. Therefore, circularity needs to become a design principle when building a supporting and any impact-driven enterprise. And it shouldn't be limited only to programs that are specifically focused on circular enterprises. So we want to introduce this concept to everyone so that maybe like in different areas, in different industries, circular economy models or principles can be adapted to business. If there's any questions, please stop me, Fausal.
So far, so good.
Okay, perfect.
You can just turn on your camera.
And we also defined like current trends that are drivers of circular economy transition. Here, I'm just identifying some of them. So digitalization in value chains was a really important development because it provides traceability and it's like it provides transparency in the chains, value chains, and ESG, which is like environmental social governance investment, is in spotlight. In Turkey, actually, this year, we've been receiving so much interest from business about sustainability practices, how we can train our employees. I'm not sure how is it going in Indonesia, and I'm really curious about it. But this year, actually, it was a peak because business and public sector also understood that we need to do something together. Not only entrepreneurs can do and act, but also we need like other support systems. So actually they are willing to learn about circular economy and new methods. So this also is a driving force for us. And also in developments like EU Green Deal, for instance, policy developments is really a factor for us. Like it drives more attention to agriculture system and also to clean energy. So, and also like in order to export to Europe, for instance, you should complete like some rules, and you should be inclusive and sustainable business. And in our case in Turkey, most of our exports are to Europe, and many businesses started to act aligned with the EU Green Deal principles. So these were the major trends and drivers that we identified, and that's why we said that this year, like in Accelerate, we should be really act towards circular economy. And yeah, this year we are going circular. We will cover many sectors actually. So our approach will be sector agnostic, but we identified that there are some popular sectors in many parts of the world, like food and agriculture and textile are dominant in terms of sector. And we selected 5 pioneering countries, 5 pilot countries, which are Turkey, Colombia, Croatia, China, and Nigeria, but also many countries like Indonesia will also adapt circular economic thematic in their program. And actually, what is most exciting for me is learning from each other's experience and learning from the best practices. So this is really exciting. This will be really exciting journey. And how we will contribute to circular economy transition in our local communities is we will have access to network of interdisciplinary change makers, entrepreneurs, and we will learn from the best practices. And throughout the program, we will facilitate dialogue and accelerate collaboration among diverse stakeholders. not only in the local arena, but also with different countries. We will also develop regional approach, and business partnerships and capacity building support is also part of this program. We provided trainings to program coordinators and teams, Impact Hub teams, and now after selecting entrepreneurs in all countries, we will provide some specific trainings and specific sessions, deep dive sessions, sectoral session to entrepreneurs so that they benefit from the knowledge and they can exchange their learnings with their peer entrepreneurs, and also they will learn how they can adapt the principles to their business and to their also approach. And yeah, we are a big community as Impact Hub, so this also facilitates bringing different institutions and different communities to the game, I would say. And for instance, we will have support of Boston Consulting Group in order to define like some popular sectors and get knowledge from, get insights from their market know-how. Here I will, you can see like some sectors identified that these are the sectors that can benefit a lot from the circular economy transition. And as I mentioned before, agri-food value chain, agriculture and food value chain is really on top now after the pandemic. So I think we will, we are expecting many food and agri-tech entrepreneurs, and that will change the system, will shorten the value chains in these pilot countries. Also, textile as a like the dirtiest industry, I would say, in terms of climate risks. So we are expecting some innovation and we are expecting some entrepreneurs there as well, especially from China. They are working really focus on textile and also like food and agriculture. And then I want to give you some examples. These are some companies of Accelerate2030. Actually, they are the alumni. So it's also nice examples. There are two examples from Turkey, which I work also closely. The first one is Whole Surplus. So they are fighting with food waste in Turkey, and it's an online marketplace which connects food retailers with food banks. Actually, their story is really inspiring. There were no food banks in Turkey. It wasn't sufficient, and they did the foundations of that, and now there is a network of food banks, and they are working together with government, with many international organizations, and also with public and private sector municipalities. And actually they changed some policies in Turkey. So what they are doing is like really systemic change. It's an example of systemic change. And I recommend you to look at their work. And this is like how they adapted circular economy and systems approach to their business, and how they fight with food waste. So I think it's a really good case study, I would say. BioLive is also from Turkey. They are producing bioplastic, biodegradable plastic from olive seeds. We are growing many olives here in Turkey, and the seeds are normally burned. It's a waste. It's like it's used like as a waste. But BioLife, they are collecting the olive seeds and they are producing biodegradable plastics actually, and they are working with many industries like automotive, textile. So also their business provides like they reduced industrial plastic use, the petroleum-based plastic use, and they are changing they are touching to many industries, which is good in terms of the reduce of the petroleum-based plastic. Also, I want to include like some of our activities which showcases the multi-stakeholder approach. So here I want to show you the Circular Cities workshop. You can also, I can share my presentation later on, and you can also watch it through YouTube. So Istanbul is a really big city where we live in, and there are many challenges in the city due to population, due to some underdeveloped management, I would say. And we hold this workshop in 2019, and we brought like some experts from Global Shapers community, which is the community of World Economic Forum. And with the support of Consulate of Netherlands, actually, we also brought some experts from Netherlands. Netherlands is really expert on circular economy. So we brought some municipalities, some universities from Netherlands to provide some know-how on the topic. And we identified top challenges of the city, which are plastics, food, water, urban mobility, and textile waste, which was identified like that. And so we also brought corporates on the table. We brought like local municipalities and local experts on the topic, and we let them create solutions for the city. And it was an amazing workshop, actually. We learned from the real problems, and actually we started to design not only for the symptoms of the problems, but we solved the whole picture. And our takeaway was like some concrete projects, not only ideas. So it was a really nice workshop. And after that also it was like first step for building a community around circular economy, and some projects were implemented with the interest of those corporates who are participated, and also with the public sector participants, decision makers. Sorry, you can watch it later on. The other one was actually last year in October. So it was also like with the inspiration of the previous workshop. This time we decided to focus on just the food system, and we brought some experts from Netherlands, also some entrepreneurs, and we invited everyone who has a role in the food and agriculture system. 200 actors participated, and we designed a process to understand the challenges of the system, like in each category, from field to fork. We identified what is the real problems, how we can facilitate the collaboration in this system. And we hold, I think it was 9 hours workshop in 3 days. So it was amazing, like bringing 200 people and making them co-design solutions under the under the food system. It was really impressive. And many partnerships were developed throughout the sessions. And we also publish a circular food report, which showcases the learnings of the food and agriculture industry. I can also share that with you after the presentation. So this is the last example about BioLife, which is the producer of biodegradable plastics from olive seeds. This is a partnership that they developed throughout the Accelerate 2030 program with our partner Anadolu Efes, which is a brewery company. It's a really large company in Turkey. So Anadolu Efes was looking for more environmental friendly service presentation and materials. And BioLife was a really good solution for them. They tested together, they did the R&D together, and now like they are using some materials instead of plastic. They are using olive seeds. So this was a really nice partnership practices that we want to see in other sectors and we want to see in Accelerate 2030 program. So this is my presentation. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'm looking forward to your questions, and I'm looking forward to discussion.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cansu. Okay, so guys, feel free to ask questions if there's anything that you want to know more or explore to give it Cansu. While waiting for questions, I have some questions of my own, Cansu. So I think it's what everybody is still thinks is actually maybe circular economy, or does that mean that we should be recycling more, right? But then in the very beginning of your presentation, you were sharing that circular economy is not just about recycling, it's much more than that, right? So not only is about how can we, and it also on a lot of sectors, like from raw material to waste, there's like one lane, right? But also we have circular energy in terms of the energy that is being produced and consumed for any particular purposes for homes, but also things like, for example, circular mobility. Like how can we rethink about creating a more circular way of moving around in the context of energy that is consumed, carbon that is created, etc. Right? So to put it down on someone that probably are not very don't really understand into circular economy, what would be the actual steps that, for example, I have a business, and I think there's actually several people in our group have some businesses, right? If they ask, how can I make my business to be more sustainable and to be more circular, right? So what do you think the steps would be, Cansu?
I think the first step would be like doing the ecosystem mapping. So ecosystem mapping is an exercise, I would say, that you identify who are your enablers, who are working in your field, who are the people that you are touching, like who are your beneficiaries, who are the partners that you can collaborate with. So when you start defining the map, and you are also you should also start identifying the relationship between the actors, and then you are seeing like you will have a map of the system, which like, for instance, if you are working in agriculture and food, then you will have a agriculture and food system map locally, and you will start seeing, identifying where is the parts that we are creating waste, what are the where can I take different actions, who can I ask to like to do like different actions so that we can minimize waste in the system. So the first step, I think, is the ecosystem mapping. Then it is the identifying the activities and relationships between the actors. And then it's all about like repairing or reusing. Then you are starting implementing the circular economy principles or models. I think the first thing is identifying where we can intervene.
Got it. So I think yeah, that's in terms of understanding our ecosystem, right? But nice. Maybe another example that might be relevant for everybody in the room is, for example, if you have, okay, there's a question that we will address after this, Rifki. For example, if you have a restaurant, right? So how do we make a restaurant circular? So aside from mapping the ecosystem, who is our supplier, who is our customer, but it's also about understanding our operation, right, Chansu?
Yeah.
Like for us, for example, for us to create 1 cup of coffee, for example, right? If we break it down, it will become like, okay, where do I get the coffee beans from, right? And how is the coffee bean that I'm consuming in my business being produced? Are they using organic farming, or are they using chemical and pesticides, right? But also it goes into how do we package the coffee for takeaway, for example, right? Are we using plastics, or we're using biodegradable cups, right? And things like that. Is that one of the way to think about it, Chansu? Or if there's like any additional things that we should be considering as well?
Understanding your operations is really important, and also understanding like the consumer behavior is also important, and providing them the relevant alternatives is really important in this context of, for instance, in this context of restaurants, you should understand why the waste is occur in your daily business. Is it something that you are cooking a lot, or is it something that you are cooking like the wrong thing? You are buying like you are supplying like the wrong thing, for instance. So I think it's all about understanding your business as well, and also understand, like focusing on the each step, zooming in, and identifying like what can be done differently, how we can, it's always about like thinking how we can minimize the waste, because it's not only about minimizing the waste, it's also a business opportunity for everyone. So it's a profitable business actually adapting this, implementing these principles to your business. So I think it's seeing things that they are not waste, they are resources, and you can benefit from minimizing them. It's this understanding. It's not only a PR activity, or it's not only something that you are doing to showcase, I don't know, to be like eco-friendly. It's something that also is useful for your business. I think this is the major approach that I would take.
Now, which brings us to that's a good segue to the next question that we have from Rifki. He was asking, can you explain more about circular economy business models? And I think before Chansu answers this question, maybe I would like to share a bit from what I saw. Um, so when Sampangan went to Brazil for an initial for planning for pilots of doing zero waste processing there, we had the privilege to go to one farm that is a client of our partner in Brazil. So it's an 8,000 hectares farm, right? So that's huge, very very big. But I was very impressed in the context of how they are implementing circular economy from their from their farming operation. So what I saw was circular economy in the context of energy. Yeah, so they're using solar panel. They're using micro hydro from rivers to generate electricity, and then they're using biogas from cattle, as well as pig farming, where they capture the gas and convert that into electricity. And using these 3 renewable energy sources, they are they enable to 100% use the energy for the farm operation of 8,000 hectares. So that means they don't spend any more on electricity and energy requirement, which is amazing. So on a business perspective, that's a huge cost reduction, especially on operational cost. And the second one is in the context of agriculture waste. So once they harvest, for example, they have soybean, right? So when they harvest soybean, they process them and it becomes products. But there will also be some agriculture waste from it. So they're using the waste from the agriculture product processing and then convert them into organic fertilizers and organic pesticides that is used back into their farming operation. So this way, they're also reducing the cost for fertilizers and the cost for pesticides in their farming operation. So I think that's like one example of how companies or businesses can benefit from circular economy. And in this example, it's more of a cost reduction, right? So I think maybe I will pass over to Chansu to share about other business models on circular economy that she sees all over the world.
Thank you, Faisal. I'm thinking like if I should show like the detailed thing. Do you mind
Yeah,
if
sure.
I
Go ahead.
show?
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Okay. It will be kind of a lecture, but I think it's good to show.
Okay, we are here to learn. Everybody want to learn.
Yeah, so okay. So I will take it from actually here. So we have actually principles, business models and activities, and also the mindset part of the circular economy. And when we think about the design, it's all about like the design models is all about like using non-toxic materials, choosing like circular materials, biomaterials, and cascading of raw materials. It's like reusing raw materials or like having them at their like using them at their maximum usage, not only like wasting them. And here you will see some examples. This is a really Swiss example, I would say. It's a it's skis and they are like bio-based skis. So this is like really a high level example, I would say. It's really Swiss example. And this is also like other design principles are like planning reverse logistic systems and modular design. For instance, modular design is really popular, and I have an example of that here. Like instead of changing the whole chair, or like you can repair it, or you can use like change some parts of it. This is like a really I think common approach that we can see also in other industries, not only in this. For instance, G diapers, this is a really nice example that I love, and you may know, since you are newly become that the diapers
I think
are
I
really
need this. Pampers are expensive, Chansu.
Yeah, they are so expensive, and they are actually you can use like 3-4, right, in a day.
Oh yes, absolutely. And times, I don't know, 2 years maybe every
And
day.
yes, and it's a really wasteful process, I would say, because they are like a plastic or something, the material. Instead of using plastic, this is a Dutch firm that they did like from the pants, and they are just inserting inside the disposable part. So that you don't waste the whole material, whole diaper every time. you are just changing the part and you are reusing the pant part. So I think this is a nice design approach. It's like smartly designing the process. And I want to show you this. This is the steps that actually in every time we should think about when we use something. Can we repair it? Can we maintain it? Or can we reuse it? Can we upcycle it? We should think about that. Is it something that we can refurbish, or is it something that we can definitely not do anything and it should go to waste, like it should become a waste? So I think this is a model that we should think every time. This is a really nice approach when you understand your operations, also when you want to adapt the model. I will also give like example of business models in terms of product-oriented, service-oriented, and result-oriented. So I saw a question about banking industry or insurance industry, which is I think, really nice question. Generally, the examples are product-oriented or service-oriented, but in the financial industry, when we worked with them, actually in Turkey, for instance, their role was more like providing the investment to these businesses. So in terms of adapting the circular economy to their business model, their role would be like facilitating and enabling these processes. I'm not sure if I'm responding that question, but it's not like they can also have some products also to facilitate and enable some checklists for the sustainable investment, but they don't have like a concrete product or service for the circular economy actually right now. Are there any other questions on the models?
Yes, I think there's but that's not on the model. That's a separate topic. Maybe we can continue first on the models if you still have.
Okay, so product oriented, as we talk, and service oriented. For instance, I can give an example of Mitsubishi and Philips. Philips is renting city lighting in Netherlands. Instead of buying lighting bulbs from Philips, the cities can access the lighting as a service, and they are also getting the repairing and everything as a whole package. So they are giving Philips, they are paying Philips like monthly subscription. Also, many offices are doing this in Netherlands. And also, I can give another example of Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi are not selling elevators to the many businesses in Netherlands. Instead, they are renting it, and whenever they use, they are paying depending on the use of the elevator to Mitsubishi. So these are the models of the service and use oriented. And about mindset, I can give this framework to you. As I said, it's all about like thinking in systems and understanding the relationship of the ecosystem around you, around your operations, and the actors that you are in touch. And also it's about celebrating diversity, which means many circular economy requires round tables or requires tables that you should have interdisciplinary actors. Like, it's not only entrepreneurs can do can adapt these models. You need private sector, you need public sector in the table to enable these models to scale. And you should also, maybe this is the case in Turkey, that we have many practices in circular economy. However, they are not visible or they are not communicated as circular economy. So it's also about making these approaches, these models visible, so that they can scale other parts of the country or other parts of the world. And it's also about like having the multiple values and acknowledging that, and also about communicating the social and economic value of this approach, and like promoting it. So this is the general framework that I can share with you. And if you have further questions, I'm happy to discuss.
Right, and I think that one of the things that you shared, which is thinking in systems, is also a good segue for one of the questions that was asked by Iqbal. So Iqbal asked, what is more important in accelerating the circular economy? Is it the consumer who need to do a behavioral and mindset shift toward sustainability, or regulatory setup to incentivize the industries? What's your take on that, Cansu?
I can talk about the experience that I have. So incentivizing is a really nice approach, and having incentives from the government is, I think, it really multiplies the process. Like it accelerates the process so fast that also taxations, like not only having incentives but also having taxes or having like some restrictions also multiplies the processes generally. I don't know how is it in your local context, but I think incentives are really important. And this is not only about consumers. I think this is about everyone. Everyone has a role in the system. So you can have, it's like about our choices as a consumer, our choices as a decision maker, and our choices as a whole, I would say. When I say this, it can be utopic, but this is the case normally. When you choose something, it also has effects on other choices. So I think as a consumer, we have a role. As a producer, we have a role. And as a government, as a private sector business, we have other roles. So everyone should be aware of their impact areas and their role, and then act together and act according to. That's why ecosystem mapping and understanding the relationships and having dialogues and identifying the incentivization policies or taxation is really important in this case.
Oh yeah, got it. Thanks, Chansu. Maybe another example of systemic thinking, right? On like how can we change like behaviors towards circular economy? How can we get more businesses to think in a more circular way, and how can government participate, right? Maybe one of the example that we can look at is, for example, the e-commerce industry, right? So I think, as we all know, or we might not know, I think e-commerce is also one of the biggest contributor of waste problem, actually, especially from the single-use packaging. Whenever we order something and it goes into our door, like we have it in these boxes, right? Like that basically it's not just boxes. It comprises of several things: the box, the bubble wraps, and then the tapes, right? So if you wanna, for example, if you wanna rethink about, okay, so how can we make e-commerce more circular, for example? And then if you want to implement what Chansu just shared, okay, let's map out the stakeholders, who are the actors, right? So in e-commerce, we have number one, the consumers, us, the one who purchase the products, who make the
Yeah.
decision to purchase what products on what platform, number one. Number two, the merchants who decides on selling, is it a sustainable product or is not a sustainable product, and then how are they packaging those products, right? And then the third one, we have the platform, the marketplaces
Mm-hmm.
itself, right? That aggregates the users and merchants together. So the transaction happens, right? They can also take a role to play to accelerate circular economy if they wanted to. And the third one, sorry, and the fourth one is the fulfillment centers, the warehouse. So sometimes merchant put their items in warehouse and fulfillment centers. So whenever an order is made, someone at the warehouse will be packaging it, and they will contact the logistic person, and then this logistic person send over to the customers, which is number five, which is the logistic company itself, right? The one who are bringing like the product from the warehouse and merchants over to the consumers. So these are all like five different actors in the e-commerce industry use case, right? So now that we know the five, now the question is, how can we make this whole operation more circular, right? So I think we could look it into two using two lenses. Number one, uh, can we rethink the way we package products,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the problem is not about is it plastic or not. The problem is single use, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is so single use is bad. What is more bad than single use is that single use that will never biodecompose on its own. That's like double sin, right? So I think this is like number one on like trying to rethink about the packaging itself, right? And number two, how can we rethink about the delivery of products
Mm-hmm.
from the moment of purchase, from the merchant until it arrives to the consumer's door, right? So I think this is like where Chansu sort of mentioned about reverse logistics in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But then like reverse logistic is like maybe some is a term that maybe not all of us are familiar, but it's basically how can you make sure that whenever a packaging is received, it can be returned back to the warehouse so they can be reused again, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we think it's something that I think is done in Europe by several retail companies. But then what we did not realize in Indonesia context is that we also did reverse logistic, not we, but then some companies. So for example, Indomart and Alfamart, which is like one of the largest retail chain in Indonesia. They have, I think they have over a total of 30 or 40,000 retail stores, Chansu, spread
Mm-hmm.
across. So they actually do reverse logistics because
Wow.
they whenever they distribute the products to these retail stores, they do it from their warehouses. So from this warehouse that have like probably I don't know 1,000, 2,000 different products, they would package all of these things in reusable plastic boxes, right? And then they put it into the truck, the logistic. And then this truck would go to the retail store, and then they would start to restock the retail store with additional new products, right? And then they will give this plastic box, the empty plastic box, and then the logistic truck would bring it back to the warehouse so that it can be used again. So
Yeah.
these are like some examples of implementation of circular economy in one example, right? And then is in this way is actually it benefits almost everybody because for um, for the retail store, it means they could reduce cost in transportation and cost per item because
Mm-hmm.
the cost is reduced significantly. For the retail store franchisor, they also save a lot of money because they are making their logistics and transportation much more efficient and less wasteful as well. So I think these are like some examples that we could use to think about, to understand more about circular economy, the concepts, how it's implemented, and the benefit that everybody will get, right? Yeah, maybe if chance to have other examples you can share as well.
I think this example is really good, and as you mentioned, like in each phase, we can hold like round tables, like each phase is so big that we can include many actors. Like rethinking about packaging is something that we should include designers, we should include entrepreneurs, the process, to reduce the like the use of maybe we will reduce the materials in the packaging, or maybe we will change the material actually in the, like it will be bio-based, or it will be like olive seeds, whatever it is. So it should be like in each step, rethinking about packaging is different than rethinking about delivery. So e-commerce as a whole, I think it's a really good example in terms of seeing like how we can intervene, where we can start. So you can start by rethinking the packaging, you can start by rethinking the delivery, you can start by changing the understanding and changing the consumer behavior, or business behavior, for instance. Also maybe in Turkey, for instance, there are many restaurants that they are also if you return the cups that you are eating, like they are giving you some money back, for instance. This is also applicable in Europe as well. I'm not sure about Indonesia. Also, like about logistics, for instance, Repack from Netherlands again, they are doing the same. Like you are sending post to someone, and then the package can be delivered to the same place, and you are getting back like some money back. So these are like some models that also incentivizes the consumer, incentivizes the producer or the user. So everyone can benefit from this whole rethinking processes.
Yeah, that's I mean, like, really, it really is actually very amazing, yeah, if you think about it. Like, if we really actually sit down and map out everything, and then we will be able to start to see I think mostly inefficiencies, I think,
Yes.
right? So I think circular economy is also about reducing or eliminating efficiencies in terms of sorry, increasing efficiencies, uh, especially in the context of material, operation, time, energy, carbon footprint, and many more, right? And I think if it's done right, actually everybody wins, like either in cost reduction, or even better, additional income or additional revenue, right, Chansu?
Yeah, and it's like efficiency, but also it's about optimization of the resources. Like you optimize the resources. It can be human resources, it can be material resources. So it's all about like optimization, and like it's providing efficiency and optimize the resources that you have actually. And businesses are really attracted by this now, because they understood that they cannot trace the materials. Like they don't understand where once it's sold, for instance, as a retail or as an FMCG, once your product is sold, what happens to that? You cannot trace it. So many FMCGs, ice cream, for instance, Algida kind of FMCGs started to recollect their packages, because there was a huge taxation in Turkey. So after that, they started to rethink about their processes after the sales. So before that, they were thinking just until like before the sales, and once it was sold, it was not their product, as if. But now,
not my problem, right? It's the
now
problem,
they
right?
should think about after the sales. What's happening that Is consumer using it to other as an other cap or box, or is it a waste? Is it like just one use one time and it becomes a waste? So many businesses started to also think about further, like they extended their user journey. So this is also good, and actually taxation facilitated this process a lot. And yeah, I think it's efficiency, provides efficiency, and also it optimizes your resources, because to like if you want to continue your business, you should have some resources like natural resources. We know that they are we are wasting them, and we should understand how we can use it effectively. So I think this is the time that not only business but also public sector and many governments are alerted.
Oh, I think that's a very good story of like the immediate and tangible impact of how policy can actually accelerate circular economy, Chansu, right? But in this case, because like normally policy is about protecting or giving guardrails, but also it's about punishing. Hey, if you don't do this,
Yes,
then you're gonna get a penalty, right? But apparently, it could also enable action by providing incentives, especially in the form of tax breaks. Yeah, in this case, right? So if they can prove that they're managing their waste properly, then they will be able to reduce this amount of tax, right? Which for a company is
mm-hmm.
yeah. So I think it's not about, oh, it's about being green, it's about being sustainable, but it's also about it's actually commercially attractive to do it,
Sure, like
right?
it's definitely like that. It's a business opportunity. Like as an, for instance, big FMCG, you are producing so many products, you are using many packaging materials, and you cannot recycle them or reuse them. Like, yeah, you can recycle, but you cannot reuse them. Because someone else, like, I don't know, pipe firms can use those materials. So it's not a contribution to your business when you recycle. But if you learn how to reuse those packages, or if you learn how to recollect those materials, then you can start making them like a business profit to your business. It's an amazing process, like how taxation or how punishing a business or a consumer can really be effective and accelerating this process. Also, like there are many models. Also in Turkey we have it. For instance, if you bring plastic bottles, you can get like metro cards, and you can use it in your city mobile, like city in the city. These are also some models that, or if you in Denmark, I think if you bring like plastic bottles and if you collect them and bring them to cafes, you are getting like cinema tickets. So these are some incentivization models that are nice, and like I think they should be scaled, and they should be multiplied in other contexts as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think like, well, like I will never reject a free movie ticket, right? Well, before the pandemic at least.
Yeah.
But but I also see that at the moment so I think circular economy in a lot of ways mostly are physical. Yes, that is true, but it's also possible to be service based, as you said, right?
Yes.
But what also is interesting in my opinion is the fact that all of this can be scaled up using technology,
Yes.
like digital technology especially. I will share an example from Indonesia, and I think maybe you can share an example from Turkey or other parts that you know.
Mm-hmm.
So an example would be so Gojek, right? So Gojek is one of the largest super app in Southeast Asia, from ride hailing and multiple other services and products really. But what's interesting is like a few weeks ago they just announced their pledge. That's 30, right? It's like from Prof Yunus book 30, but is about zero waste, and then zero emission, and then the third one, I think, if I'm mistaken, zero barrier. So Gojek have like millions of users using their app across Indonesia, and hundred thousands of merchants and millions of agents and partners that is within their ecosystem, right? So, and it's very interesting because they're making that pledge. They could really exponentially influence the change of behavior of the users within their app, their partners, and merchants as well, at the same time, leveraging the technology that they have, which is the apps, right? A concrete example is they launched an app called Go Greener, where you could calculate your personal carbon footprint, like from our daily activities of commuting, consumption, etc. For our person and our family. They would calculate it and give you, this is a carbon footprint that you produce in a month, right? Boom, like this much carbon dioxide. Uh, Now you could take an action to reduce your carbon footprint by planting trees to absorb the carbon that is created by you, right? So you could immediately in order to subset the carbon that you created, you need to plant this many trees, and this how much it will cost you on a monthly basis. So they will use this fund and that to actually plant trees that will do that exactly, right? But before this, like it's almost like, okay, why should I care about carbon footprint? Even if I do, how do I even do something about it? But they provided the access and capability to do so using the app that they have, which is, in my opinion, like really amazing, because they're just turning on one switch, boom, and suddenly now everybody can contribute in reducing their own carbon footprint, which is really amazing. And now they're moving into zero waste as well in their ecosystem, to rethink the packaging that is used within the ecosystem. And if there is waste, how can they manage the waste properly, recycle what they can, and the residual waste to be converted into value as well. So I think this is an example from Indonesia, Chansu. Maybe there's an example of scaling up circular economy using technology that you've seen that
Yeah,
maybe you can share.
I will I will give details of the whole surplus example. So as I said, they are the waste management platform for retailers, for restaurants, and for everyone in the food chain. And for retailers, every retailer has some surplus, some food surplus that they cannot sell it still. For instance, if although they are still edible, they cannot sell it the other day. So what can they do is normally they are just going to landfill in normal cases. But after starting business with whole surplus, the retailers can manage their data, so they can see what is sold, what is not sold, how they can donate the surplus to food banks. And once they donate it to food banks, actually they are getting some incentives, some tax incentives from government. So this is a really good way for them too. Also, they save so much time for the process tracking, and they can report what is where are the surpluses are. Is it vegetable? Is it I don't know, detergents? So, and also those still edible products are sold in other markets, which is also expands the value, and it's actually uses the more efficient management services. It's make it more efficient. And as a restaurant or as a hotel, for instance, there are many hotels in Turkey which provides limitless food. When you go to holiday, they are providing you limitless food, so which means waste actually, because they are renewing their menus every day, and they are not using the same food in all menus. So restaurants can track what is liked, I would say, what is preferred by the consumer with data. And they are cooking that like the other day as well, or they are using the same ingredients. They are not buying like something else that is not preferred by the consumer. So I think these are some examples of how data can be effectively used in industries like restaurants or hotels or retailers, like in different industries that is under the food system. And also in agriculture, for instance, there is a lack of data in Turkey. Turkey is a really good like agriculture country, it should be, but we are not investing to agriculture as a like country. Actually, we are not producing, we are not using our potential to produce like some really good products in terms of food. And we are importing them. So it's a really wrong policy of the government. There are no incentives to farmers. There is a huge price gap, cost gap of farmers to retailers. There is a like many military like medium actors. So I think agriculture data can, for instance, the data can say they can have like information about the weather conditions, water use. So data can provide many efficiency points, or it can change the way farmers operate in many ways when it's provided. However, since there is a lack of data, farmers are faced with like extraordinary conditions sometimes, and they are actually giving up producing food, and they are doing something else instead.
So yeah, that's the importance of data and how digital technology can actually scale up and accelerate circular economy adoption across the world, right? And okay, so I think we're unfortunately, I mean, like we've been having such a very interesting discussion that we didn't realize that it's almost the end of the program, unfortunately, but it is not the end, guys. So don't worry. So maybe one last remark, Chansu, of how can myself, an individual or myself as a business owner, can adopt circular economy in our daily life?
I think personal level, I would say that it's all about our choices, and it's all about like looking for information. I would say it's mindful, making choices mindfully. Like when you eat something, if you question like where it comes from, then you start questioning the processes of that, how it came to your table. Then you are starting to question that. So I think it's all about questioning the processes and like making choices accordingly. I would say I'm not saying that I'm doing the like perfect choices every time. I should admit that, but I'm trying to always make the right choices. At least I'm always questioning them and thinking about how we can rethink and how we can redesign them. So this is my remark for personal level. And as business owner, I think it's about collaborating with others and changing their minds as well. It's mobilizing others in your sector or in your industry. This is really good, good way of being part of the transition. Sometimes you have to convince them. It's not easy. You should explain them what is the circular economy and how they can benefit from it. And this is not easy. If you have government like us, for instance, it's not easy to mobilize or in our population also, in our city also, it's not easy to mobilize everyone. But if you can change like one or two decision makers' mind, then you will see how it grows and how you attract, how you start building community around it. So I think this is really the way, like creating dialogue, explaining them what is circular economy, how they can get involved to that, what are the benefits for them, how we can create women strategies towards the transition. I think this is the my remarks for business level.
Awesome, Chansu. This is the way, right, Chansu? Amazing. Yeah. Sorry, Star Wars fan here. Okay, so I think I just want to say thank you so much, Chansu,
Thank
for
you.
joining us all the way from Turkey, which is like really amazing. Okay, so I think I would like to end, but before that, I just want to share a bit of things about Accelerate 2030, if I may. Yeah, Jaka, if you can share. So I think uh, yeah, there you go. So I think Chansu did briefly talk to you about Accelerate 2030 and what's in it, but then this is more of a call to action to get Indonesian entrepreneurs to join Accelerate 2030 and join the global community to really accelerate circular economy, being part of the solution so that we could achieve sustainable development goals by 2030. So next. Yeah, so it's one of the largest Accelerate 2030 program in the world, the Accelerator. I'm one of the alumni, and I've seen firsthand of how amazing the program is and the amazing connections that I made with fellow entrepreneurs, mentors, international organizations, and it really opens up a lot of opportunities and doors for my business, the impact that we are creating, and my personal growth as individuals. Next. So is the program are being supported by impact hubs in over 20 plus countries. So by joining the program, you will be also be connected with other entrepreneurs in 20 other countries all over the world. So I think that would be like one of the cool stuff about Accelerate 2030. Next. Oh, and we're here in Indonesia too, by the way. So I think there'll be a link later that will be shared over to you on how to join. And for this year, we are targeting to support over 200 plus entrepreneurs globally in the national phase, which for Indonesia will start sometime on August or September. So we'll be joining the 200 entrepreneurs all over the world. Next. So we have 100 plus partners internationally, including UNDP and some other global partners that are providing support in terms of their expertise, modules, coaching, or even not even or even funding, financing opportunity as well. Next. So in which from my batch in 2019, there's a total of 6 million US dollars that was raised by our cohort in the following year. And even this year, that's even bigger than this at the moment, right? But these are some of the financing opportunities for the entrepreneurs joining the program. And next, these are some of the things that you will get by joining Accelerate 2030. The first one is expert supports in terms of clinics, how to scale your business, modules on workshops, access to mentors, coaches, and sector experts that will really help you in your venture. Next. Also, strategic connections for investors, international organizations, and corporations. That could be your partners, that could be your financiers as well. And then next, visibility and positioning in terms of like telling your story to the world, right? So if, for example, for us, we are able to share our story in Geneva and also other parts of the world, such as Paris, Ethiopia, as well as Brazil. So these are some of the things that is possible, and also media exposure and global opportunities. So the top ventures will be joining together in a global program in Geneva. That's where the magic happens. Really, I think we'll be sharing more about this in an info session about Accelerate 2030, where we will do the kickoff next week. You guys will be updated. Next, sorry. Yeah, so this is the program schedule. So the application is still open for Indonesia. The deadline of the application for the Indonesia cohort of Accelerate 2030 is on 20th of June. So that's in roughly in 2 more weeks. So you still have more time, or maybe you know someone that will definitely benefit from Accelerate 2030 program. Next. And that is that. Join us at Accelerate 2030 program community, as well as Impact Hub community, and really let's just grow together. So you can click, or no, you can just go to accelerate2030.net/Indonesia. We will send you a follow-up email later about the program and about the info session that's going to happen next week. As well as if anyone is interested, you can also join our circular economy community, which comprises of businesses who are working in the sector, where we can learn from each other, as well as just people that just want to learn more about circular economy and want to share informations and insights and best practices to each other. So yeah, I think with that, uh, we reached the end of the program. I think, Jack, do you think you can take a picture together?
Sure.
Yeah, so I think one of the most important thing, right, Chansu?
Yeah, I love.
Yeah. Okay, so
Who is
our
taking?
Jaka is taking. So I think let him set it up for a bit.
Okay. So everyone,
Can I
if you
ask
can turn
everybody
on
to
your
turn
videos, we
on
would appreciate.
your camera? Would be awesome if possible, right? I think maybe they're shy because it's like work from
Yeah.
home and like, okay, I haven't showered yet. My face not camera ready. Oh, Iqbal is online. Okay, awesome, Iqbal. And anyone else want to join in? Okay, that's fine. I think we can do that. I think Jaka, if you can give us a 3, 2, 1, we'll be ready with our best smiling faces, even it's behind our mask. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. It's even over time by 36 minutes, and we still have people on board. So I think that's really cool. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining again. Thank you, Chansu,
Thank you
for
so
your
much
time.
for having me. And anyone can connect with me through LinkedIn, or you can also have my email. I will put on the chat, and you can find me on the LinkedIn.
Awesome.
I'm putting it. Sorry. Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you in the 2030 journey.
Yes, definitely. Looking forward for that as well. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.